So if you've been working with developers for long enough, you've probably heard of this idea of front-end and back-end development. But what exactly do we mean by that? Well, let's take a look here at an example so we can actually see this in action and start wrapping our head around it. So coming to the screen here, we have our terminal over here on the left, and then we've got our browser over here on the right. And what we're going to do here is we're going to spin up a simple Next.js app so we can see the server side and the browser side or the client side in action here and start seeing the differences between front end and back ends. So what I'm going to do is run a little script over here to spin up the local development server. And this is running just on my machine here. And now when we come over to the browser, we can see it did a hot reload for us. And now we can start seeing some messages. So I've added some messages here. And what we can see is a little hello from the server and a hello from the client. We see this here as well. So remember, on the left-hand side, this is our server environment. This is where everything is happening over here versus over in the browser. This is only the client side or the front end of the experience. And notice we only see this hello from the client messaging. So what we've got here are these two different worlds. We have the back end, which is everything that's happening over on the server side. And then we have the front end, which is everything that's happening in the browser. So that's a really good way to start wrapping our heads around this distinction. Back end is everything on the server. Front end is everything that's happening in the browser. So the front end, really responsible for the look and feel of our application. It is where users will be actually interacting with the experience. And so we're using technologies and languages like HTML, CSS, and JavaScript to build that experience and make it interactive and make it a place where users can do things and get a lot of value out of it. On the back end, we're using languages like PHP and Python and Ruby to do a lot of processing, do a lot of data management, do a lot of additional computing that we don't have the resources for on the front end. So that's where we start drawing these distinctions. So as we've learned about the internet, as we've learned about different environments, we kind of can start building this kind of continued picture of the back end is everything on the server side. The front end is everything that we're actually accessing through the browser. And so they talk to one another as well. We're going to plant that seed there. The front end needs to get information from the back end and vice versa. We need to send information from the front end to the back end. So although we like to talk about them as these two separate worlds, there's actually a lot of back and forth and communication that's happening between them.